I love Splatoon 3, and if you've clicked on this video, there's a solid chance that you do too. But for as much as you and I may love this game, I think we both know it ain't perfect. Fun? Absolutely. But perfect? Let's not lie to ourselves now. The truth is, Splatoon 3 will probably never be perfect, but it can definitely be better. This is a game with so much potential, but it's also a game with a few flaws that are not only preventing that potential from flourishing, but are also already driving people away. But just what are those flaws, and are they fixable? Well, I've identified 6 of them, so let's dive right in. But before we do, just a reminder that my name's Jazz. I'm a Nintendo content creator who primarily focuses on Splatoon, so if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more. I was gonna start off this section by saying the matchmaking in this game sucks, but I am at this point convinced that it might just be non-existent. This game doesn't have matchmaking, it has matchmaking. Because I feel like most people would agree, if there are 2 of the same weapon in the same lobby, common sense would say to you, put 1 on each team, right? Not this game. Oh no, not this game. You know what, I don't know if the Splatlands has an airport, but if it does, logical matchmaking hops on the first plane out of there. Picture this, right? I get onto Splatoon, I go into a match, team spawns in, and oh, there are 2 tri-sloshes on this team. Me and someone else. I think to myself, okay, you know what? That's not ideal, but I think we can work with this. At least, that's what I thought until the other team spawned in. Ladies, gentlemen, non-binary friends, welcome to the stage, double E-liter, jet spotcher, aerospray. Why? Like, what was the reason for this? How, if there's 2 tri-sloshes and 2 E-liters in the same lobby, did the game come to this decision? And that's not all. This game 100% has a problem when it comes to skill matching. I've seen it all the time, where someone's clearly new to the game, you know, starter gear, Splattershot Jr. staring at their feet, the whole shebang, and they get matched up against someone whose splash tag badges are the gold S+ badge and a couple of 5-star weapon badges. Even if we can no longer see each player's individual level, the game knows, and common sense would say to you, hey, maybe don't put little Timmy who just got the game up against the S+ 15 player because they're going to get massacred. But hey, as I said earlier, if there was a class on how to make logical matchmaking decisions, I'm starting to think that maybe, just maybe, Splatoon 3 might have missed it. If you've played Splatoon 3 even just once, it'll be no surprise to you that this is here. Splatoon 3's online issues are beyond ridiculous. And I know I've joked and made light of other things saying, oh, this will kill the game and that will kill the game. And yes, there are certain things that definitely won't help. You know, the comp versus casual divide, shooter privilege, none of that will help. But if people cannot play the game without continual interruption, if these online issues continue to persist at their current rate, that will be this game's killer. Being an online multiplayer is probably what 90% of people come to play Splatoon 3 for. If people cannot do that, they will leave. Simple as. Initially, I was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, it being a brand new game, there were always going to be things that needed to be worked out. However, that was then, and this is now. We are months down the line. The problem hasn't gotten any better, and quite frankly, it's not good enough. If you're going to create a game that pretty much requires you to utilize online features, and on top of that, you're going to charge people to do so, those services should be up to standard, and Nintendo's are not. And it really is in Nintendo's best interest to fix this, because it is actually hurting the game. For us dedicated Splatoon fans, it's annoying, it's irritating, but we put up with it because we love this game. But that also means that we perhaps don't pay as much attention to what these issues look like to others outside of the Splatoon community. While making this video, I wanted to see what this particular issue looks like to people who perhaps aren't as actively invested in Splatoon 3, but have played it. So I headed over to popular review site Metacritic to see what I could find. Splatoon 3 is currently sitting on a 6.8 out of 10, indicating that user reviews are mixed. Now, I wanted to see what was bringing the scores down, and rather unsurprisingly, 90% of the negative reviews all centered around the incredibly unstable online service required to play this game. Other Nintendo games on the Switch have had connection errors and online issues. There's no denying that, but none. Not even Splatoon 3's predecessor Splatoon 2 experienced issues on the scale that Splatoon 3 does, and it needs to change. I put a couple of questions out to the Splatoon community. What's the best stage in Splatoon 3? What's the worst stage in Splatoon 3? And why? Now, I asked this question because one, I was genuinely interested in the responses, but also because I had a theory. Well, not a theory, but I had an idea of what people might say, and I wanted to check I was right before I just whacked it in a video without really checking. My theory, if we're going to call it that, was that most people were going to say that a stage that originally came from Splatoon 1 or Splatoon 2 was the best, and that a Splatoon 3 original stage was the worst. Now, in terms of what people thought was the best stage, I was definitely correct. The winner by far for people's favourite stage was Flounder Heights, which was originally a Splatoon 1 stage. Other honourable mentions were Mako Mart, Museum, and the only Splatoon 3 original stage that I've seen most people actually like, Hagglefish Market. But when it came to the worst stages, I pretty much got 3 answers over and over and over again. Undertow Spillway, Brinewater Springs, and Mahi Mahi Resort. And I noticed all of these stages have one problem in particular. They are all cramped beyond belief. So if there's a charger, in particular an E-liter, well, good luck to you. Although while I've said that, I'm going to use this time to put something straight. A lot of the Splatoon 3 stages are very charger friendly, but this idea that there's suddenly no skill weapons needs to go. They are still one of, if not the hardest weapon class to play well. And just because the stage may favour the playstyle of a charger a little bit more than we're used to, that does not suddenly mean they're easy to play. Get this idea out of your head. Every time I see Undertow in rotation, I literally just sigh, and you know that Brinewater's a bad stage when it's the newest one, and yet the best thing people can say about it is, oh well, at least it's got a nice aesthetic. And let us not forget that Wahoo World, one of the most disliked stages from Splatoon 2, somehow made it into this game, and yet was pretty much absent from the worst stages discussion for Splatoon 3. That in itself is an indication that something's gone horribly wrong in the stage design for this game. Do you know how badly you have to have messed up for Wahoo World to not be getting mentioned in the worst stages debate? Now, Mahi Mahi, unlike Brinewater and Undertow, originally came from Splatoon 1. However, this doesn't get Splatoon 3's stage designers off the hook. Mahi Mahi was one of the most requested stages to return from Splatoon 1. People really liked this one, and yet the redesign has transformed it from a fan favourite to something people actively avoid. Even when we look at Flounder Heights, the winner of my little mini poll, people have still asked questions about the decision to lower some of the verticality on this stage, particularly when Splatoon 3 has the Squid Surge, a movement made for verticality, and yet Splatoon 3's stage design seems intent on taking it all away. Splatoon 3 needs more communication options. I've said this like a million times at this point, but I'm sorry, I will not shut up about it. I don't know if it's just me, right, but there's only so many more times I can witness my teammates doing a running hop, skip and jump into their own deaths when I could see them and wanted to warn them properly, but also wasn't going to be able to get there quick enough to help. And yeah, I know we have ouch, but what about all those times when, shock horror, I'm actually not dead? What do we have then? Nothing. Now, I like Booyah. I'm very much on Team Booyah back, Team Booyah at the start of the match and all that. It's a good morale booster, it's great for congratulating good plays, but as an effective communication option to make the game easier, it's not actually that useful in most solo queue situations. And again, I don't know if it's just me, but this way doesn't work half the time because it's not specific enough and people often just ignore it. Like, what are you telling me this way for? Do I need to push the objective? Do you need help in a fight? Am I in danger? Who knows? Solo queue communication in this game is like a lottery. You basically have to take a guess at what it is that your teammate wants you to do and hope that you're right. Not being able to communicate with your teammates better can often be incredibly frustrating, and you know what bugs me the most? The fact that they actually have space for more of them. Can somebody tell me why in the single player I can fill each of the buttons on the D-pad with a different sub-weapon, but in the multiplayer Nintendo are for some reason suddenly allergic to utilising the left and right buttons? Make it make sense, because it doesn't. Okay, I think there's been enough Splatoon 3 Splatfest for me to say this now. Shifty Stations need to come back. Tricolour just isn't doing it for me, and I don't think I'm alone in this. Like, don't get me wrong, it's fun, and I definitely think it's better now that you're not locked into only attacking or only defending, but it just doesn't have that same quality or that same wow factor that Shifty Stations brought. I loved Shifty Stations in Splatoon 2 because there was a different gimmick every time. You know, we had bounce pad stages, sponge stages, cannon stages, just to name a few. You didn't really know what you were gonna get. Tricolor kind of had that, oh, this is new thing to begin with, but now we kind of know exactly what to expect already. The only thing that changes for Tricolor is the stage, and it's not like there's a special stages that are Tricolor exclusives. They're literally the stages we play on all the time, just slightly tweaked. I don't want to get rid of Tricolor. I do think it should stay. I just think if we had Shifty Stations alongside Tricolor during a Splatfest weekend, it would just elevate the entire event to the next level. I'd like to see Splatoon 3 get a new game mode. And yeah, I know some people are going to be like, oh, well, we got Tricolor and Big Run. And yes, we did. And yes, they are new, but they are not new modes in my opinion. They can't be played on a regular basis, and they are literally variations upon two already existing modes. That's not a new mode, that's a special event. And don't worry, because I haven't forgotten about Table Turf either, but for me, that currently feels a little bit more like a mini game, kind of like Squid Beats was. You know, Splatoon 2 gave us two new modes. It gave us Clan Blitz and it gave us Salmon Run. And I think it would be a huge mistake for Nintendo to not introduce a new multiplayer game mode at some point in Splatoon 3's life. I'm not saying this one needs to be anytime soon, but I am saying that before the game finishes getting updates, I think a new mode should be added. So I bet some of you are a little bit confused right now because we just did point number 6 and I told you there were only going to be 6 things in this video. So what exactly could the secret 7th thing be? Well, I'll tell you. The secret 7th thing is, drumroll please, marketing! But I already spoke about that in the video on screen now, so go watch that to find out why Splatoon 3's marketing is so important for its future. Now I hope you enjoyed today's video, but most importantly, stay positive, stay smiling, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!